My mom was named June Budge, and her maiden name was June Stainer. And her dad, Ralphie, my grandfather, I remember him better than both my grandfathers. He was the best one that I liked to be around, actually, because he was really kind. He'd come and hold me and give me hugs and things like that. And we lived in Smithfield. When he'd come to Smithfield, all the kids, we had 8 in our family, would run out and grab him and hold him, and hug him, because he was so kind to us. He was just so kind of a gentleman. There was a story. He used to take us up to Ute's Dairy, which was a place in Smithfield that sold raw milk and ice cream. And we used to go up there and get ice cream, and there was pinball machines. It was kind of fun because it's the first time I ever seen a pinball machine, the old-fashioned ones. It's not electric. There's no electric. I mean, I guess there was a little electric to it. There's little buzzers and that, but in fact, now that I think of it, I don't think there was the buzzers on it. It was just a regular old pinball machine with no noise, and no noise at all. It'd bounce around is what happened. And when you'd flip it, it was actually manual. You actually pushed your fingers and it would knock the ball back up. And anyway, he would take us there and give us all like a 50 cents or $1. In those days, that was quite a bit of money. That was quite a bit of money. We felt like kings and queens, when we went with him, and it just, I remember that all the time, and how kind he was to me. Now, my mother, like I say, was June Budge, and her mom was Nina Stainer, or Nina Pearl Stainer, I think her name was. And I didn't know her that well, like her husband, my grandfather, Ralph Stainer. What I did know, she was kind of posh in a way, where she had all these fancy silverware and trinkets, and I think she was a little on the posh end, where I felt nervous as a kid going into her house, because she would tell you not to touch this, don't touch that, don't touch this. She's afraid. I just felt nervous around her, actually, because of that. That she wasn't real close to the kids. She was just mainly thinking about her jewelry and stuff. And that's all I remember about her. I'm sure she was probably a kind lady, but I didn't get to know her that well. And later on, when she was living in Logan by herself, I went down to help her repair things around her house, and I got to know her a little better there. She would talk to me a minute. She was real kind then, but other than that, that was it with that I knew about her. Yeah. O.H. Budge was my grandfather, and I was pretty young when he died, I think, when I was up in Yellowstone spraying trees for the Forest Service. He died. I gave him, the year before, I gave him a pillow that says, "You're my favorite grandfather." And then I went and sprayed trees for the Forest Service, and that year he died. So it was 1965, I think. I might be wrong, but about 1965. And I really don't remember a lot about him. The Budge family didn't have a lot of reunions like most families do. We just had very few get-togethers. His O.H.'s family was kind of distant, where they didn't meet a lot. And what I remember, the first time I remember anything about him was when I was about 7 or 8 years old. He used to live on 4th North, and up by the university, just right at the foot of the university on 4th North, in a white house there. He lived with his son, which is my uncle, Wendell Budge. And when I was real young, my dad brought me over, and O.H. Budge lived in a room. What they did, they got a room on the west side of the house, and Wendell and his wife lived on the east side. And then on the west side was a little room that they made into a little apartment right there. It had one door coming in, a little door. And for some reason, my dad asked me to come and stay with him one time. I don't know why. I can't remember why. But I remember seeing Grandpa, my dad brought me down there and opened the door, and Grandpa was sitting there. And I was nervous, you know, because I was used to staying home, you know, and it was really made me kind of nervous, just, you know. But I guess there was some kind of a reason why. But I went there and stayed with him overnight, 1 or 2 nights, and I can't remember what it was. But it was really enjoyable because I got to know him a little bit, you know, that he was just a really, he was a serious man in a way, in his eyes and stuff like that, except he was very kind. At that time, I remember the first morning we got up and he got breakfast out, and he got some cereal out. I was kind of hungry, and he got some cereal out, probably cornflakes or something like that. And then he poured water on the cereal. And I was kind of shocked because I always have milk on my cereal. And he poured water on it, and I could never figure why. I ate it because I was embarrassed to tell him I didn't like it. I ate it, and it was awful, but I smiled and ate it. And then come to find out later, my dad told me that he was allergic to milk. He had a problem, you know, that he didn't, and for some reason he didn't tell me at all. He just put water on it. He thought I would like it, but I didn't. It wasn't very good. And then, you know, he talked to me a lot, and we went for little walks, and we come back couple hours later one time, and he pulled out a big box, and it was full of coins. It was full of coins. See, O.H. Budge was the mission president in Germany before Hitler took over. When they was in Germany, my dad was 16 years old, and my dad actually proselyted on the mission field, and they knew Hitler. They seen Hitler going down the street, and this is just before the war, you know, where it was a little dangerous for them to be there. But the Germans, according to my dad, were trying to to make good relations with Americans, because they didn't want Americans to come into the war, you know, or, you know, after they got going. So some of the big dignitaries of German, the right-wing party, Himmler was one of them. Himmler, as you remember, wasn't a very good man in the German army, but he would come over on Sundays and have lunch with my grandfather, O.H. Budge, and my dad and their family, and eat with them. And you know the history of Himmler. It wasn't really good what him and Hitler did. But and one time my O.H. Budge, I'm slipping way a little bit to my dad now, but during that time that O.H. Budge was the president of the mission of Germany, my dad was out on the streets proselyting with another missionary, and the Gestapo arrested my dad and took him to jail. And my dad knew very good German. He went to school, actually. He went to school in Germany. And he told them, he says, told the people in the jail, and that says, I know Himmler, and you better let me go because I know Himmler. And the jailmen there and the people in charge of the jail, the police station, were laughing at my dad, saying, "Oh yeah, he knows Himmler, and they kept laughing at my dad. He says, "I do know him, I do, call Himmler," and they laughed. At 3 in the morning, that morning that he got arrested, my dad, one of the head policemen there decided to call Himmler's assistant, not Himmler himself, because that would have been really bad, but he called Himmler's assistant and says, "Look, do you know Bob Budge, O.H. Budge's son? Do you know Robert Budge?" And they told the guy, said, "Let him go right now, right now." And so the policeman come back and unlocked it immediately and let him out, and drove him to their home and let him out and told him they were sorry, and then let him go back to his house on that. But anyway, Omer Budge, you show what kind of character he was. He was a leader all of his life. He was a leader in the community. He was a dentist, actually. Omer Budge started out as a dentist, and there was a lot of doctors in the Budge family, and Omer, kind of O.H. Budge, I keep saying Omer, O.H. Budge, was one of the first dentists in the Logan area, and he started the Budge block. It's down by the Tabernacle in Logan. If you across the street from the Tabernacle, on the corner there's a building that says Budge block, and up in the upper level he had a dentist office there, and most everybody in Logan went to see him, pretty well, because there wasn't very many doctors in those days. And he helped kind of get the Logan Hospital going. That was when the Idaho and Utah Hospital was up by the temple. It was kitty corner to the Logan Temple, kitty corner on the northeast corner. You go kitty corner across there, where the parking lot is. That used to be the Logan, Idaho Temple. The Logan, Idaho Hospital, in which my O.H. Budge helped get it going. And then O.H. Budge, when I was, back to my story, when I was living with him when I was young, just for a couple of days, he pulled out a box full of coins. That's what I was getting at, actually. He had a lot of German coins, and that's the story I was getting at, that he was over in Germany. He had a lot of foreign coins, Polish coins, Swedish, and just all types of kind of old coins. And I loved coins in those days. And he asked me, he says, do you like coins? And I said, yeah, I collect them. And he said, well, he gave me a big handful of them. He grabbed his hands and pulled a whole handful up and put them in a sack. He didn't look which ones. He just pulled them out and dumped them in a sack and gave them to me. And I kept them ever since then. In fact, I told him I was collecting coins, and I think that's probably the reason he did that. And later on, the same coins, I told myself that whenever one of my grandkids asked me if they had a coin collection, if I had any old coins, I would give them all that he gave me, that I didn't want to keep them, So Daxton Budge, Ryan Budge's, my grandson, Daxton, come up to me one day and says, Grandpa, I'm collecting coins. Do you have some coins? And so I went and grabbed the same sack that he gave me. The coins were, well, I had them, I had a friend label them, how valuable, if they were valuable, or a lot of them weren't real valuable. They were just older coins, But they were labeled by country, and I gave them to Daxton, because that's what I told him I was going to do. And he was the first one that asked me for the coin, and Daxton has them today, I guess. Margaret, her last name is Sutton Budge, and then my dad assumed that name as Sutton, so his name was Robert Sutton Budge. But Margaret I didn't know very well. O.H. I knew better. I only met her a few times when at a reunion, a couple of reunions in Logan, where at their house there, and she'd come up and was real kind and stuff like that. To me, she didn't look quite like a Scottish or English person. She looked more like Italian or something like that. I remember that. That's the only thing I remember what she looked like. I remember when I first saw her that she didn't look like a regular, Scottish person or Caucasian. She looked like maybe like an Italian or something like that, I think. Okay. But other than that, that's all I know about her. That I didn't know much about her at all. So. Okay. My dad was Robert Sutton Budge. He was a doctor. He was in World War II and in the Korean War. Fond memories. My feeling is it was kind of a rough. We weren't the closest together, my dad and I, and as far as that goes, a family at all. My dad, fighting in World War II and the Korean War, I think kind of affected him a little bit. Where he had a rough time getting close to our family, But fond memories, one thing I liked about him, he was always very honest in his business. He always was square with everybody. You know, he always told the truth. He never did, you know, never lie. He's always told the truth, and he was kind to people in his business. Where being a doctor, he gave away a lot of free medicines and things to people that needed it, you know, and free service. And I admire him for that, and that's probably it on that. My mother, June Stainer Budge, was born in Fielding and lived in Salt Lake City and the Avenues later on. Really close to my mom, where I wasn't so close to my dad. My mom was just, I didn't feel so nervous around her. My dad, I felt nervous because I mean, my mom was really friendly and would give us hugs and made us feel really comfortable at home. And I just loved her a lot, and she was always so kind to everybody. Later on, when Cindy and I was married, we could go to her house, and she was just so kind and so told us stories that would make us laugh and stuff like that. She was, it was pleasant to, you know, privileged to know her and have her as my mom. I think she's just a very kind lady. One thing that's kind of funny about her, she'd always enter contests all the time, and she won the Conoco contest for state of Utah, where she had free gas and oil for the rest of her life. And finally they settled, she lived so long that they settled out of court with her. They said, oh, we're going to give you so much and let it go, you know. And so I think when she was about 85, they gave her a lump sum, and then she actually, it was a good deal for her. So that's kind of a humor thing about my mom. She entered every contest there was, and she'd enter thousands of times. You know, she wasn't afraid. She wasn't. As kids, we used to have to sit on the table and write her name on these entry things for maybe 1,000 a day. We'd have to fill out for her on that. So that's something about my mom. It's kind of funny. My name, Michael Clare Budge. Clare spelled C-L-A-R-E, which is a little different. You know, some people spell it A-I-R or like that, but mine was C-L-A-R-E. And the reason I got it, one of my dad's brothers was named Clare. He was a 5- or 4-star general in the Army, and my dad named me after him. And that's how I got my Clare. Michael was just a name that they liked. But the Clare, my middle name, was named after my uncle Clare Budge, that lived in Texas. Actually, he lived in Texas. My fondest memory of my childhood would be probably sports. I just, as a young kid, the older kids would be out in our field next to our house and playing ball. There's always, some of them were 5, 10 years older than I was, actually, and I'd always want to get in there and play with them. You know, they'd laugh and wouldn't never throw me the ball, you know, but I'd always felt neat just to be on the field with them. And as a younger kid, I started in grade school being one of the fastest runners in the school, even the kids that were older than I was. In junior high, I just loved sports. I'm kind of not trying to brag, but I just loved sports. And I was in pentathlons in the state of northern Utah. I won 2nd place in the state of Utah, northern Utah, which encompassed Box Elder and all those places, and Logan. In pentathlon, where you do all the things. You'd play basketball, you track, jump, and all that. And I just loved that sports. And band and basketball, I was always able to score some of the most points of the game. You know, even though I was only 11 years old, I was the top scorer for the guys who were 12 and 13-year-old with me. You know, and again, I'm not bragging, just that it just made me feel good. You know, the whole incident of thinking of sports. I played for Skyview High. Went to Pentathlon Invitational down in Salt Lake City and placed, can't remember exactly where I placed on that, but and I played, when I was a junior, when I was a sophomore at North Cache High, I dressed for the varsity basketball team and sat on the bench. I didn't play much. As a junior, I dressed for the varsity team, and then as a senior, I played, you know, as guard for Skyview High, and then I played football all 3 years that I played football. And then I got a scholarship down to Snow College and played football for Snow College down in Ephraim, Utah. And the reason I mention these is that's probably the most enjoyable thing in my life was sports. You know, I just love to be competitive and in sports and stuff like that. It's hard to talk about this, you know, and you think I'm maybe bragging, but I'm going to say it anyway. But I've always just loved people, and I'm always kind to people. And in doing so, it seemed like people, when a presidency came up, they always voted me in presidency. And I was the 7th grade president, the 8th grade president, 9th grade president, sophomore president, the junior president I was, and the senior class president of Skyview, I was president. And so just by being nice to people, they'd vote you in, you know, and I think that was the reason they did vote me in, because I no matter what the person handicapped was, or he was shy, or he didn't have nice clothes and people teased him, I would go up and put my arm around them and make them feel good about themselves, you know, and then they just vote me in, presidents and stuff like that. So, but I wasn't trying to be. I didn't want to be the president. I didn't want to be a president. But they put their name in, and they say, "You got to go. You got to be it now." So. A mission story of mine was when I was on a mission to London, England. I had a companion. They put me with a companion we'd been out 3 months and hadn't taught any lessons or had anybody invite us in their home or anything. We did zero. We did nothing in 3 months. We tried really hard, but and it was getting discouraging for me. And my companion and I fasted for a couple of days, or a day and a half, and we wasn't supposed to fast very much because you're a missionary, you're not supposed to, you keep your strength up, but we did anyway. But one day I was in charge to tell us what area we would track out, and so I went up to the map, and it showed that this area had been tracked with maybe the missionaries before us, and we shouldn't track there. But I had a feeling, the Holy Ghost, I feel, that we should track this area. And my companion says, well, we can't do that area because they just been there. They're going to be pretty mad. And I said, well, this is the area that you wanted me to pick. That's where we should go. So we went there and went down the block, tracking that street. And a lot of people were very mad. A couple of dogs chased us, and a couple of men come out and got really upset. And then Bobby was a policeman in England. He came up to us on a bike and said, look, we've had a lot of calls about you guys going down the street. And he was really nice. I really liked that guy. I thought he was going to be really mad and not, but he was really said, just hold it down and keep going if you want to, but just keep it low key, you know, because people have been calling. So we went to a couple more, and my companion, I hope I got the story exactly right, but my companion was getting a little discouraged, and I said, let's go to one more house. And so we went to one more house, knocked on the door, and a big Navy guy came with tattoos all over his arm like that. And I thought, oh no, we're in for big trouble. And he was kind, really nice. He says, no, we don't want anything to know about the Mormons, and thanks for coming though. He was real nice. And then as we shut the door, his daughter up above the stairs yelled, I want to talk to him. And we heard that, so we kind of, I can't remember if we put our foot in the door or whatever it was, you know, we stopped the door. And he said, and he opened the door, he said, well, my daughter wants to talk to you. So to make this story quick, her name was Lorraine Dyer, And she came down and we taught her and baptized her. And she's the sweetest little thing. You know, I know that's why I was sent to England, you know, to baptize her, I think is what it was about, not to, but she was baptized. And a lot of people you baptize, there's quite a few of them that go inactive. You know, when we went in some areas, half the people were inactive, you know. But Lorraine stayed true to the church to this day, which is quite a few years later. She's still active in the church. She went to some youth conference things and met her husband from, I think he was from Blackpool, England. And he's been a stake president and bishop one or two times, and way up in the church. All her kids have been on missions, and I'm really proud of it. Not only did I baptize her, she stayed active, because a lot of people don't, you know, in this church, the converts to the church, and I just love her. When we see her, I'm so proud of her and her family. Why do I believe in God? Earlier in my life, you know, a lot of my friends read the Book of Mormon all the time and things like that. And I was more into sports and didn't do that, you know, as much. And I didn't have a real good testimony. And then later on, I started reading the Book of Mormon and different things that happened to me gave me a testimony that why I believe in God. And a lot of it is the physical things of it. I'm more of a physical guy, you know, instead of maybe spiritual. I hope I'm spiritual too, but for example, the body, if you think about it, the world is all of a sudden, the world is here, and then all of a sudden there's people on it with stomachs and throats to take food down into your stomach and to digest it, and your muscles and your legs can grab and expand to make you run and stuff like that. You know, just physically, you can see God's hand in everything. If you look around, God, there had to be a God to make this. It just couldn't happen, you know, just like that. And then also, the older I get, you know, and study more of the scriptures and things like that about the Doctrine and Covenants and all the different doctrines that our church has, you know, where other churches don't. It gives us an idea of what's happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. And other people just don't have that. And Joseph Smith is, again, my hero. Joseph Smith to do what he did, you couldn't do it. Even with the computer nowadays, I think, you know, we're 2015 now, or almost 2015, and that was in the 1820s, you know. What he did was practically impossible without computers, you know, because he interchanged everything in the gospel, and what he brought forth is truly amazing to me, and that's why I have a testimony on that. I think a lot of it's physical, and I have, you know, spiritual too. By doing physical things, that makes me get spiritual feeling in my life too. So. Cindy Larson, it was her maiden name, and I was off my mission and was working at Del Monte, if I remember. There's a can plant that makes cans for a Del Monte company, and I was working there. And my friend Darrell Ross Kelly come up to me one day and says he wanted to line me up with Cindy Larson, you know, and that I think at the time she was going to school in Salt Lake City, if I remember right, the LDS Business School. And I said, yeah, I'll go with you, because he was dating her friend. Her friend was Mary Ann. Cindy's friend was named Mary Ann, and he wanted to date her. And so he said he wanted me to go with him, just to be a chaperone, you know, or just to go with him. So I dated Cindy, and we went to the Utah Theater, and that's when it wasn't an opera center. It was a theater, you know, popcorn and stuff like that. It was just a regular theater. We went there. And I remember I was, you know, she was really very nice, and she's a cute girl, and I didn't think much of it because I dated other girls, and I thought maybe just another date, you know, just another date, you know, and then other times, you know, she'd come up, we dated a few times, and one time my friend Wes Roundy from Cass Junction, one of my best friends, we decided to go down and date Cindy and her friend, and he would date her, you know, so we went down and dated. So it got a little more serious then when I went down there to see her. And then finally we decided to get married. And how I gave her my ring, I was really shy. I didn't dare give it to her in front of her face. You know, I was too nervous, so I gave it to her sister Pam to hide it by her room. When she'd get up in the morning, on her desk there, it would be sitting there with the ring be sitting on her desk. And so I guess Cindy could probably tell you that story about that, but evidently she got up and the ring was there, and I wasn't there, which I was glad, you know, and then she said yes, she would marry me, and I'm really happy with her. I love my wife, and she's been really good to me and my family, raising my family, and we're just like friends, you know, buddies now, not so much, I mean, you know, husband and wife, except we're kind of friends where we go to theater and other things together all the time, and that makes it nice, that marriage that way, so too. So. Cindy has a lot of stories, and it's hard for me to just tell one, but I'll just maybe tell one or two. But the thing I'm amazed about her is how she raised our children. When I was working, I had a business of my own at one time, you know, where I was always busy, and the kids turned out so special, all of them. And I look back and I see that was my wife's doing a lot of it, you know, where she was so caring for all of them, and she took care of them very, very well. She clothed them very well, and you know, I just really was so proud of her that our kids turned out so well because of Cindy. And one thing, kind of a humorous side of Cindy would be that she's really frugal, where she was always trying to get coupons, and that she used to teach coupon classes in the church classes sometimes, because she was so good. She would trade coupons back east and stuff like that, and it was common when I was with her sometimes to go into a store and they owed her some money, you know, back, or you know, or she bought all these groceries, maybe $60 worth of groceries for $7 or like that, and so she really helped me out as a breadwinner. You know, she made my life easy, you know, because she was so good at saving money, and I admire her for that. And then I think the main thing, I think too, is her kindness to everybody. She's got a way with herself, being kind to everybody, and people just like her. When they first meet her, they just like her. You know, like we could meet some friends in a church house, and they like her better than me, because she's so friendly with them, you know. And so, for example, on our ward, the people there just love her. You know, all of them come up and talk to her all the time, and she has asked how they're doing and stuff like that. She reminds me of my mother a lot, June Budge, where she's so worried about other people, you know, so much, how they're doing and stuff like that. So that would be it there. So. I want to relate a message to all those who listen to these tapes. In my life, I developed at a young age depression and anxiety, and I think that some of you listen to this tape will also develop depression and anxiety, and also that you have it now or in the future. And I would like to just relate how my feelings are about it, that maybe could help you, give you some advice on how to help you out with this. I feel that anxiety, that first of all, hereditary, sometimes people get depression and anxiety, and it's hereditary, and there's people in both sides of our family have it, and also the second thing is stress in life. Sometimes life itself, you know, somebody might pass away in your family, or your financial stress, money stress, marriage stress, all these different stresses, can cause problems. And a third one is church stresses, and in your life, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is true, and we believe that it is true. But sometimes the people within the church tweak different things about it that causes stress for us. For an example, like some people got the notion that you have to be 100% primary present. You have to be 100% mother. You have to be 100% dad. You have to read all the Gospels before you pass away or you're not going to heaven. See, things like that, that some people in the church, it's not the church itself, it's the people within, that are tweaking the church and that are causing a lot of pressure on us. And that can develop into anxiety and depression. And I know this is unusual what I'm saying, but I really don't want, I want to help all those who think that they have problems like this, that remember that you need to just do your very best. You don't have to be 100% LDS person. You can try it. You can try 100%, but you don't need to be one. You can fall short. You can fall short of that goal. You don't and do the best you can, and Heavenly Father will take care of the rest of it. You don't have to. Remember, He's there with you, and He's going to help you out. And I just don't want other people to suffer with this like I have. And if you do, there's a person that had the same problem. You can think of Grandpa Budge, that he also went through this problem, and I've experienced what you've experienced. And thank you, okay?